Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the B segment of episode 67 of Codename Kids Next Door, Operation A.W.A.R.D.S. We begin this segment at the Sector V treehouse, where we see Numbuh is holding a meeting about how tomorrow night will feature the biggest gathering of villains yet. The 4 other Sector V operatives, however, are not paying attention for one reason or another. Numbuh ends up taking the items that are distracting his teammates, and he brings up the poor results of a mission from last week. We don't get to hear the full story about this mission, we just hear the end results, which led to the Sector T operatives getting rubber cement in their hair. So Numbuh says something along the lines about how this mission relating to the biggest gathering of villains yet will be Sector V's chance at redemption. Numbuh proceeds to explain to his teammates that the villains are planning to gather inside of a dormant volcano. He also gives his teammates instructions about how to go about this particular mission, and he stresses that he wants the entire team to meet up outside of the volcano on the night of the event at 8 o'clock. He gives the time in military time, by the way. And Numbuh also stresses that timing is crucial for this particular mission. So the night of the event has arrived, and we see that Numbuh is actually the only Sector V operative who isn't outside of the volcano right now. The 4 other Sector V operatives do wait a little while to give Numbuh a chance to show up, but the Sector V leader still doesn't arrive, and the 4 present Sector V operatives realize that they can't afford to wait any longer. They have to begin the mission now in order for it to succeed. So the 4 present Sector V operatives enter their vehicle, which is disguised as a catering service vehicle, and they enter the dormant volcano. They find themselves in an indoor parking lot where they can see various vehicles of various villains. They end up parking in Father's parking spot, which is next to the Snot Bomber, the Common Cold's flying vehicle. Number 5 takes a wire from inside of the vehicle, and she hooks it up to the 2 other wires in the circuitry of the dormant volcano. Yes, Number 5 takes a wire from inside the vehicle, and she attaches it to other wires relating to the circuitry of the dormant volcano, and this leads to the vehicle being able to see what's going on or what's being recorded inside of the dormant volcano. The main event of this gathering is being recorded in the main room of the dormant volcano, and the wiring that Number 5 hooked up to the other wires is showing the recording on the screens inside of the Sector V operatives vehicle. So the 4 present Sector V operatives can now watch what's going on in the main room through the screen on their vehicle. Number 4 also inquires about why the villains are gathering in the first place, and he receives his answer afterwards when Robin Food and the Hungry Men begin to sing an opening theme song for the event. This is the Villains' Choice Awards, and after Robin Food and the Hungry Men sing the opening theme song, Number 2 comments about how he found it to be really cheesy in his words. And the 4 present Sector V operatives realize that they have to modify their plan now that Numbuh hasn't shown up. Because Numbuh hasn't shown up, they have to modify their plan about how they're going to go about this mission. So Number 2 proceeds to explain how they're going to modify the plan, And while number 2 is giving this explanation, we, the viewers, see scenes that show what the plan will be like. Yes, we see how the plan is going to unfold while number 2 is explaining it. So you could say we get an extended imagined sequence. I guess that's the best way you could describe it. But in any case, yes, number 2 begins the explanation. So according to number 2's explanation, Nightbrace has a habit of brushing his teeth after every award has been announced. So the plan is, or the plan will start with when Nightbrace goes to the bathroom to brush his teeth. Number 4 will ambush Nightbrace, knock him out, and take Nightbrace's costume so that he, number 4, can impersonate Nightbrace. Number 4 will return to the table that Nightbrace is sitting at. Nightbrace happens to be sitting with the Toilinator and Count Spankulot. And number 2 suggests that number 4, impersonating Nightbrace, order lasagna, because Count Spankulot will also be ordering lasagna. So number 5 will impersonate a waiter, and number 5, impersonating the waiter, will bring the lasagna dishes. And Count Spankulot, this will happen around the time when Count Spankulot receives an award. So while Count Spankulot is receiving his reward, number 4 will switch the lasagna plates so that the plate he gets from number 5 is the plate that Count Spankulot is going to eat. And the reason why that's important is because the lasagna that they intend for Count Spankulot to eat will be filled with garlic, which Count Spankulot is allergic to. So when Count Spankulot eats the garlic-filled lasagna, he'll begin to choke. So number 3 will arrive, impersonating a doctor, and she will use the Heimlich maneuver to get Count Spankulot to cough up the garlic. And using crucial timing and coordination, the garlic will hit a cymbal in the orchestra pit. And this will give the conductor the mistaken belief that now is the time to begin the music. And the music will interrupt Mr. Boss while he's in the middle of a speech for an award that he received. So Mr. Boss will go complain to the manager about the orchestra interrupting his speech, and number 5 will be impersonating the manager. And while Mr. Boss is complaining to number 5 impersonating the manager, number 5 will take a key from Mr. Boss. And this key is important because this key unlocks the door to the room where the envelopes for the winners of the awards are being held. Number 2 comments about how Mr. Boss's accounting firm is tallying the results of the winning ballots. Or that's along the lines of what number 2 says. So after number 5 impersonating the manager takes the key from Mr. Boss without him realizing it, number 5 will give the key to number 4, who is still impersonating Nightbrace, and number 4 will also take a wire from number 3, who is impersonating a stagehand. Number 4 will unlock the room where the envelopes are, and number 4 will attach one end of this wire to the Villain of the Year award envelope. And then after that, after that end of the wire has been attached, number 5 will put on her waiter disguise again, and the rest of the wire, or the other end of the wire, will be inside of the catering cart that number 5 will be pushing as part of her waiter disguise. So number 5 will use the catering cart to bring the other end of the wire back to the parking lot, and the other end of the wire will be hooked up to the snot bombs that are within the Common Cold's snot bomber. So the plan is when the Villain of the Year envelope opens up, the snot bombs within the snot bomber will explode, and this will cover the interior of the dormant volcano in snot. So, in other words, the plan is to ruin the Villain's Choice Awards, and that's how they're going to go about it. Number 4 thinks that the plan won't work, but the next scene shows the 4 present Sector V operatives back at the Sector V treehouse after they went about their plan. And number 4 admits that the plan actually worked. And number 2 comments that number 1 is probably their weak link since number 1 wasn't present for this mission. Number 4 and then number 4 admits that he wants to hear who won the award for best toilet themed villain or something along those lines. So they decide to watch the choice award. Yeah, they decide to watch the villain's choice awards after they complete the mission. So the next winner is the best toilet themed villain or something along those lines, and the winner is not the Toilinator but a villain named Potty Mouth. And Potty Mouth just says like childish insults. Like he's not actually cursing. He's just saying childish things like "you're pooping right, I won" or something along those lines. Toilinator is angry about this. He thinks he should have won that award, but Potty Mouth insults the Toilinator with those childish insults, and then Robin Food quickly hurries the argument to end so that they can get to the last envelope, the Villain of the Year award. And Robin Food also reveals that the winner will also receive a trophy, but this trophy is not an ordinary trophy. Oh no, the trophy is number 1, who has been captured. And yes, number 2 is tied up to a trophy, and he's also gagged, so he can't talk. Yes, his mouth is gagged, so he can't talk, and he's tied up, and they even painted him gold. And yes, the Villain of the Year will also have captured number 1, or number 1 has been captured, and the Villain of the Year will get a hold of number 1. So the 4 other Sector V operatives realize that they can't let the snot bombs go off while number 1 is still there. Number 4 says he has a plan, and he urges everyone that they rush back to the dormant volcano. So, yes, the 4 present Sector V operatives return to the dormant volcano, and they return to their disguises, or some of their disguises, except number 2, he's hiding in a trash can. And number 4 admits that his plan is that they just run up on stage, grab number 1, and make a run for it. Number 5 thinks that's a dumb plan and points out how all the villains, or a great amount of the villains will see them, if not all the villains in the world. And after number 5 brings this up, Little Juan gets number 4's attention, still thinking that number 4 is Nightbrace because he's back in his Nightbrace disguise. And Little Juan and Robin Food tell Nightbrace that he's the one who's going to, or who they think is Nightbrace, yes. They tell who they think is Nightbrace that Nightbrace is supposed to be the one to announce the nominees for Villain of the Year, and then open the envelope to reveal who the winner will be. The nominees for Villain of the Year are Father, Mr. Boss, Grandma Stuff'em, and Sticky Beard. Number 4 hesitates to open the envelope because he doesn't want to set the explosion off, and the 3 other Sector V operatives decide to just go with number 4's plan. They just run on stage, grab number 1, and make a run for it, and number 4 joins them in escaping. Father is furious that the kids next door have stolen, Father is angry because about the kids next door arriving, and Father is angry that they rescued number 1, because Father is confident that he won the award. So Father claims they stole his trophy, or he says something along those lines. And Mr. Boss is furious about this because he insists he's the winner. Or yes, Mr. Boss insists that he's the winner of the award, not Father. And then Grandma Stuff'em and Sticky Beard join in on arguing over who the winner of the award is. So Nightbrace arrives without his costume, and Nightbrace does end up. Yes, Nightbrace has regained consciousness, though he's without his costume, and he does end up opening the envelope, which sets off the bombs in the Common Cold's snot bomber. So after that happens, or yes, we see that the Sector V operatives did manage to escape before Nightbrace ripped open the envelope. And they remove the gag from Number One's mouth, and Number One is complaining about how they took a long time to rescue him and how poorly planned out their rescue mission was. So Number Five puts the gag back in front of Number One's mouth. And next up, we see some. Next up we see some of the villains are. Next up we see the. Outside of the dormant volcano, news people and the press have arrived to cover the event. And one of the news reporters is commenting about the villains while they're leaving the dormant volcano covered in snot. And the news reporter inquires Father about if there's still any hard feelings between him and Stickybeard. Father comments that he intends to fight Stickybeard the next time they cross paths. But Stickybeard overhears Father, and Stickybeard is perfectly willing to fight Father. And that's how we end this. And that's how we end this segment. So there you go. This was the B segment for episode 67 of Codename Kids Next Door. The first entry in season 6 that is split between an A segment and a B segment, since the season 6 premiere was a full episode. And while the A segment for this episode focused on Number One, yes, I found that interesting. The A segment, this segment's sibling segment, focused on Number One. He was the only Sector V operative that actually appeared in that segment. But in this segment, while all the Sector V operatives did appear, Number One was not the main focus of this segment, but the 4 other Sector V operatives, and I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Number One got the attention in the A segment, so the rest of the Sector V operatives got the spotlight in this segment. And I did enjoy this segment. I thought this was another example of Codename Kids Next Door taking a mundane situation and presenting it in an over-the-top manner, and just rolling with how out there the show can be sometimes and just having fun with it. In this case, the Villains' Choice Awards. Yes, I found that pretty entertaining that the villains are pretty much card-carrying villains. Like they admit they're villains, they're proud of it, and they even have an event where they celebrate different villains winning different awards. And yeah, I've watched some Choice Awards events in real life. In the past I've watched some real life Choice Awards events. So I found it entertaining that Codename Kids Next Door decided to do their own spin on the Choice Awards events, and they decided to have the villains be the focus characters for the Choice Awards event. I thought that was pretty entertaining. And it was pretty cool that we got to see, we did get to see a few cameos too. While some of the villains were the main focus, or some of the villains received more attention compared to others, we still got a few cameos. Professor Triple Extra Large actually has a cameo in this segment, and like most of his other appearances, he does have a different animal trait for him. In this case, in this segment, Professor Triple Extra Large's animal traits are walrus traits. And I found that amusing because in Operation Arctic, the other scientist working out in the North Pole besides Professor Triple Extra Large was Bob. And Bob's fortress looked like a walrus. So I thought that was pretty funny. It almost feels like it comes full circle, so to speak, or maybe that's not the right choice of words, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. When Professor Triple Extra Large appeared in a full Kids Next Door entry, in Professor Triple Extra Large's first fully Codename Kids Next Door entry, or purely Codename Kids Next Door entry, not counting the Kenny and the Chimp pilot, he had turtle traits for his animal traits, while the other scientist had a walrus-themed fortress. And now in this segment, Professor Triple Extra Large had walrus animal traits, or yes, walrus traits were the animal traits he had, and Professor Bob does makes a cameo in this segment too. So I thought that was pretty amusing. And otherwise, yes, another interesting detail about this segment was this is the second time we got to see Nightbrace out of his costume or without his mask. Yes, back in Nightbrace's first appearance, Operation Teeth, we found out that Nightbrace's true identity is Mr. Jelly. And even though that was revealed in his first appearance, in his other appearances besides his first one and in this one, Nightbrace was always shown with his mask. But this time we get to see him without his mask. So it was pretty cool that they reminded us of his true identity of Mr. Jelly in this segment. And otherwise, yes, I know some fans have also had fun with speculating some of the Villain Choice Awards. Yes, we got to see some of the villains win some of the awards. We got to see some awards and who won those awards throughout the segment. But we never do get an answer for who the Villain of the Year was for this, who won the Villain of the Year award, or who would have won the award if the event hadn't been ruined by the Sector V operatives. I know some fans have speculated on that in the name of fun. Yeah, it's not one of those intense debates. It's actually just a playful, just for fun sort of debate or speculation that some fans have. And yeah, that's pretty amusing. Now, if you want my speculation, I personally get the feeling that Father probably won the award. Although I have seen some fans speculate on Mr. Boss winning the award. Some of those fans that speculate Mr. Boss have also speculated that because Mr. Boss's accounting firm is tallying the results, some had wondered if maybe Mr. Boss had the award rigged so that he would win, or that's some speculation I've seen. But again, I haven't seen any behind the scenes information ever reveal a winner, so I think that still is up to fan speculation to determine, at least from the information that I'm aware of. And otherwise, I guess the other detail is, I thought it was pretty funny how the 4 present Sector V operatives, the ones who were the main focus of this segment, I did think that was pretty funny how they did end up going with Number 4's plan, just run on the stage, get Number 1, and run out of there. I thought that was pretty hilarious that they did end up going through with that reckless plan, and it ended up working still. Although Number 1 did complain about how reckless the plan was and that they took him a while. I know some thought Number 1 came off ungrateful considering that they did rescue him, but on the other hand, some fans have figured that Number 1 probably was just acting like that because he was under a lot of stress, understandably so, considering he was captured and he would have been a living trophy for one of the villains. So some could understand that stress was probably just getting the better of Number 1, and maybe Number 1, after he calmed down, he showed some more appreciation, or I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some fans decided to put together a fan work that shows Number 1 calming down. But yeah, I could understand both sides. Like, yeah, Number 1 might have been a little harsh with them after they did rescue him, but I could also understand where Number 1 was coming from, given the circumstances of him being captured and what have you. So otherwise, I would say that's about it. So I thought this segment was a good focus for the 4 other Sector V operatives besides Number 1. I felt it complemented how the sibling segment focused on Number 1, and he was the only Sector V operative of that segment. And like I said, the Choice Awards was doing its own spin on the Choice Awards was a clever idea, and it was pretty funny that they chose the villains to be the focus of the show's Choice Awards event. And yeah, there were a lot of humorous moments, and the speculation about who might have won certain awards has created some fun, playful, non-intense debates among fans, and have led to some interesting speculation, to say the least. So yeah, there we go for now. So as of this video, we've now discussed the B segment of episode 67 of Codename Kids Next Door on this channel. Take care, and until next time.